back to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be talking about what it means to have your partner's Saturn in your 4th house in Synastry. So the planet Saturn in Synastry is very much responsible for and very important when it comes to the more serious side of a relationship, and it's very much important for looking at the building of a long-lasting, strong commitment between two partners. Really, the importance of looking at Saturn and analyzing Saturn in a relationship is going to be for helping when it comes to seeing the building of a solid foundation between two partners and in their relationship. And really, themes like commitment, loyalty, and even longevity, Saturn is very helpful and responsible for being able to see that in a relationship between two people. Also, things like getting through any kind of challenges that are thrown at the relationship along the way, and even being able to get through those and sticking together through thick and thin, and just making sure there is a solid foundation in the relationship and what that will look like for the two partners. And any kind of challenges that are thrown at the relationship, looking at Saturn is really showing you how those can be looked at as lessons, because Saturn is like a teacher in the relationship, and it's really highlighting where the partners in the relationship can strengthen their relationship through learning from any kind of challenges that they experience in their relationship, and how they can use those as learning curves to strengthen their connection together over time. Because Saturn does teach the value of being patient and also moving slow for the long-term success of the relationship. And it's also going to be very important when it comes to highlighting important things like boundaries, structure in the relationship, and discipline when it comes to the effect that the placement that Saturn is going to have or bring through this relationship to each partner. Knowing where Saturn is placed in a synastry chart for both of the partners can really point towards where the growth can really happen in a relationship, where the maturity for both of the partners can really be developed through this relationship, and also where a bit of seriousness can really be in the relationship or need to be in the relationship for them. It can be challenging at times, but it is all for the greater good of the relationship over time, and it can be pretty rewarding for the relationship and for both of the partners, because it can really bring that sense of a healthy balance to the relationship. So it is important to also factor the effect of Saturn in a relationship. In fact, it's very important and could be wise to consider how Saturn is placed. So when it comes to having Saturn in your partner's 4th house, having Saturn in the 4th house in this synastry is going to really affect the base of the relationship, and more specifically, it's going to kind of impact their emotional security and sense of emotional stability as a couple of this relationship, and generally how security and stability is affecting the way they feel. And that can really be seen in the way in which they are comfortable or feel like opening up to each other when it comes to sharing themselves emotionally and getting closer. The lesson with this is going to really be about being able to form a tight connection, especially on an emotional level, because they both want that emotional safety, they want that sense of stability, and it's really experienced in their ability to open up on an emotional level. But they can also find it a bit uncomfortable or find some kind of challenges when it comes to being able to share that with the other partner. And that can be really where their lesson is, or where their point of a hurdle in their relationship can come from. Because having Saturn in the 4th house with somebody is... The 4th house is really to do with childhood background and the roots that the partner is coming into this with. And having this placement in your synastry chart with a partner can really bring a sense of emotional baggage from the partners in this relationship. And that emotional baggage can be coming from their childhood or even family, or past experiences, active acting as a hindrance to some extent and affecting their ability to open up emotionally, or to get close to their partner. And it's likely that one or both of them find home, family as something that is very important to them, maybe even more important than other stuff in their lives. And it's going to affect the relationship. Things between both of the partners with this synastry can really move very slowly at first. There's also the potential to have a really deep bond between the two partners once they get comfortable with each other. But it could take some time to really get there and to establish that connection, because it takes a while for them to get comfortable with getting close and get comfortable with opening up to each other because of past emotional baggage, which could really have an effect on the emotional connection in this relationship. The Saturn person can be contributing to the relationship things like they're in a very financial way. If not, they can be very, very practical. And that's what they can be contributing. And the house person can be very appreciative of that in the Saturn person and come to actually really like and respect the Saturn person's very grounded side, and also their very mature and very responsible side. While the fourth house person can be a bit more nurturing, they can have a side to them that's more creative, imaginative, and very like the softer side of Cancer. And Saturn person can really bring a sense of a solid foundation that's going to be lasting to the fourth house person, because they can be very committed and be very solid when it comes to being a partner that's very solid to the fourth house person. The Saturn person can be very protective over the fourth house person, and the fourth house person can be very open to being warm and being there for the Saturn person. And both of the partners can feel the sense of responsibility towards each other and want to be able to take care of each other. Any kind of challenges that can come up when it comes to their relationship is one that's going to be tackled with them having that sense that they are responsible for each other and they want to be able to take care of each other. This relationship is one that does have a foundation that can be built on loyalty, commitment, and a lot of respect mutually, but there's also the sense of mutual dependence, and they can also have each other's backs. And that's really what makes this relationship a very strong one. It has the potential of having such a very deep and profound kind of a bond between the two partners that they have with nobody else. But it can take a very long time to be able to build, because the two partners can kind of feel emotionally held back. And it can take some time for them to get to that place where they are comfortable being open with each other on an emotional level and getting close to each other. And things can take a longer time to progress and develop, but it is one that can be for the long haul because of that slower development. When it comes to the negatives or the challenging sides in this relationship, it can also be in how they can sometimes feel like they're restricting each other, and they can feel like there's a sense of being limited. So there can be that sense of isolation, especially when they are not opening up to each other, connecting from a place where they are being vulnerable, especially on an emotional level, and being open to sharing themselves. But the Saturn person can feel like the fourth house person is the more emotional one, or they can think that they're very moody, or there's a sense of feeling as though their emotions are hindering them in some way. And the fourth house person can also feel limited by the Saturn person in this relationship and feel like the Saturn person is kind of limiting them or restricting them as well. Because the Saturn person is very mature, or they can be very hyper focused on the more practical side of the relationship. And they can have this effect on the fourth house person where it's like they have very high expectations of the fourth house person and hold them to a very high standard, which can pressure the fourth house person in this relationship, and it can feel restrictive or limiting for the fourth house person. And even the ideas around things like family and home and building a family, building a home, and the roots that everybody is coming into this relationship with in mind can be something that can act as a hindrance or a limitation when it comes to the progress of this relationship, if they let it. because on the other side, this can be a really nice combination for being able to create a really beautiful home, a very beautiful family, and even just being able to create that very strong and deep bond that really goes deep between the two partners, that's very secure and also has a lot of support between the two partners, instead of feeling like they are being held back by each other, or there's a sense of imbalance between personal space and togetherness in this relationship. Well, that does it for this video and having your Saturn in your partner's 4th house in Synastry. Thank you so much for watching the video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please be sure to give this video a like and to subscribe to this channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Well, that is where I love and leave you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Bye guys.